Everybody, be cool. This is a robbery. Any of you fucking pricks move, and I'll execute every motherfucking last one of ya.
All right, let's talk about something big. Really big, brewing in the world of AI voices. You know ElevenLabs, right? For ages, they've been, well, the undisputed king of the hill for top-notch text-to-speech and voice cloning. But, what if I told you a new contender just swaggered into the ring? And folks, it's not just talk. This one's got the benchmark scores to back it up. I'm talking about Resemble Chatterbox, a brand new open-source text-to-speech model from the minds at Resemble AI, and it's all out there under a friendly MIT license. This isn't just another voice generator. Oh no, it's a system that looks poised to shake things up with mind-blowing zero-shot voice cloning from a mere 5 seconds of audio. We're also talking about game-changing emotion control, speedy real-time performance, and, get this, solid ethical features like neural watermarking. The biggest buzz? It's not just good, it's seriously looking like it could outperform ElevenLabs in some really important ways. And haha, did I mention it's free? So, what's the secret sauce making Resemble Chatterbox look like a potential giant slayer? Why am I even posing the question of whether ElevenLabs is in trouble? Well, when you dig into the numbers from head-to-head comparisons and blind tests against ElevenLabs version 3, the story gets pretty interesting. Take overall voice quality, for example, what the pros call a mean opinion score. Chatterbox actually edged ahead with a 4.21 out of 5, just sneaking past ElevenLabs 4.05. That means, plain and simple, people found its voice more natural and just, well, nicer to listen to. And then there's accuracy, how often it stumbles over words. Chatterbox boasted a lower word error rate, only 1.8% compared to 2.3% for ElevenLabs. Fewer mistakes mean clearer speech, which is always a win. Now this next one is huge. Seriously, if you need your audio to pack an emotional punch, emotional accuracy. Chatterbox reportedly nailed it 89% of the time in conveying the intended emotion, while ElevenLabs hovered around 72%. Wow, that's a pretty significant leap if you're aiming for truly believable emotional delivery from your AI voices. Plus, while ElevenLabs definitely has a solid selection of voices, Chatterbox with that zero-shot cloning magic basically throws the doors open to an almost limitless array of voices from just a tiny 5-second snippet of audio. And to sweeten the deal even more, it seems to be faster too, churning out audio almost twice as quickly as ElevenLabs in some tests. Beyond just these raw numbers, Chatterbox is loaded with some killer features. That zero-shot voice cloning is a dream for creators, isn't it? Then there's dynamic emotion modulation. Get this, you can actually fine-tune the intensity of an emotion in the voice, dialing it from super subtle all the way to full-on theatrical. Imagine telling the AI not just to sound happy, but exactly happy. It's also engineered for real-time use, capable of streaming audio with incredibly low delay. And it's got a neural watermarking system called Perth baked in. That's super important for being able to identify AI-generated audio and keep things ethical. And just to remind you, all of this is in an open-source model. This isn't just a new gadget, it feels like a real step towards making high-quality voice synthesis available to everyone. Okay, so you've heard the hype, you've heard about the tech, but now it's time for the real deal. Let's actually hear this thing in action. I've got a bunch of examples lined up, and we'll also do a quick spin on their Hugging Face space. First up, they've provided some examples showing off these various exaggeration controls. The way this works is you'll hear the original reference audio, and then we'll listen to a few samples where they've played around with those exaggeration settings. All right, let me play the first reference for you. Here it is.
Yes, and you're right. Of course he will be. You'll see me in my hotel office before you leave this evening.
Okay, so that's our baseline. Now here's the output with the exaggeration set to 0.5. Let's have a listen.
Everybody be cool. This is a robbery. Any of you fucking pricks move, and I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you.
Okay, so this voice, it sounds pretty calm, right? Quite neutral emotionally. But the text prompt itself, the words it's saying, they're actually pretty intense. So, ideally, the output should reflect that. Let's see what happens if we crank up that exaggeration to 1. Here's how that sounds.
Everybody be cool. This is a robbery. Any of you fucking pricks move, and I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you.
All right, definitely a bit of an improvement there from 0.5, a little more feeling. Now, let's really push it and check the exaggeration at 2.0.
Everybody be cool! This is a robbery! Any of you fucking pricks move, and I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you!
Oh, there we go. That is a perfect match. Seriously, that 2.0 exaggeration level just nails the emotion that's in the text prompt. I reckon even a 1.5 would probably be pretty good, a nice step up, but hey, we don't have a sample for that one. Let's try another voice reference. Here's the original.
Well, I'm getting something really special, too. And by special, I don't mean special like that Kleineman boy down the street. More special.
Okay, and now here's the result with that 0.5 exaggeration.
Everybody be cool. This is a robbery. Any of you fucking pricks move, and I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you.
Yeah, again, this one sounds just a little too calm, doesn't it? The tone is very measured, so let's bump it up to 1.0 and see.
Everybody be cool. This is a robbery. Any of you fucking pricks move, and I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you.
Okay, now that sounds pretty good with this particular voice at 1.0. It's got a nice balance. So naturally, we've got to hear what 2.0 does.
Everybody be cool. This is a robbery. Any of you fucking pricks move, and I'll execute every motherfucking last one of you.
Yes, that is exactly how aggressive it should be. It's perfectly punchy. Honestly, the results here are excellent, at least in these examples they've shared. They're looking really, really good. Now, let's move on and explore some expressive speech. They've got a couple of samples for us here. You'll see the text displayed above the audio. So, first, here's the voice sample, the reference audio. Take a listen.
You know, Grandpa goes around and he does his business in public because Grandpa isn't shady. Any of your scientists working on anything new?
Okay, so that was our reference. Now, let's check out what Chatterbox produced.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix legions, and loyal servant to the true emperor, Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next.
You know, the output there is actually quite realistic. If you A/B it with the reference audio, yeah, there's a difference, but it's not a massive one. And let's be honest, even ElevenLabs has a similar kind of variance. Their voice cloning isn't necessarily miles ahead of this, at least not from what I'm hearing right now. All right, let's check the next reference audio. This one sounds interesting.
Yes, and you're right. Of course he will be. You'll see me in my hotel office before you leave this evening.
Okay, so that dialogue sounds like it's lifted straight from some historical film, doesn't it? Now, let's hear the cloned output.
My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix legions, and loyal servant to the true emperor, Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to...
Wow, okay. I would say this is absolutely perfect. It perfectly matches that reference audio. The voice cloning quality there is just excellent. In my opinion, this is already miles better than all the previous open source voice cloning tools we've seen, and it's definitely playing in the same league as the closed source solutions. Seriously, I don't think ElevenLabs is going to be quite as in demand after people get their hands on this. Now, let's check the next prompt. They've tweaked the text a little bit here, and this is the reference audio.
Hope I'm not bothering you. Just doing some stretching. maybe a few poses. You'll tell me if I'm bothering you, right? I've even been singled out a few times, probably because it's mostly pregnant women in the group. Still.
Okay, this one's got quite a different style, a very distinct accent, not your standard English. Let's see how Chatterbox handles it. Here's the result.
Introducing the next generation of refreshment. Duff beer just got bolder, smoother, and brewed to perfection. Whether you're kicking back or barfing up, it's the taste that never quits. Crack open a classic. Duff is back and better than ever.
You know what? That output is actually pretty darn good. It's not a carbon copy, an exact match, but it's much better than I expected. Honestly, I think if you fed this same reference into ElevenLabs, the output you'd get would either be pretty similar or, dare I say, maybe not even as good. So let's keep rolling and check the next voice sample.
Review. The host quibbled over whether it's Live Free and Die Hard or Live Free or Die Hard, never even mentioning the
Okay, and here is the output result from that.
Introducing the next generation of refreshment. Duff beer just got bolder, smoother, and brewed to perfection. Whether you're kicking back or barfing up, it's the taste that never quits. Crack open a classic. Duff is back and better than ever.
Okay, amazing. Absolutely amazing. I really believe this voice cloning is next level stuff, and it can definitely go toe-to-toe with ElevenLabs. And when you think about being able to use this locally on an 8GB VRAM machine and generate unlimited audio, well, ElevenLabs might just be starting to sweat a little. All right, here's the voice prompt.
Really is like, here is the context in which Sinead made those comments. And then also it like contextualizes in like present day Ireland. And you're like, oh, maybe Sinead was onto something. And we punished her for telling the truth. But also musicians, you know, like I was like, oh yeah, musicians.
Okay, so this is a female voice, and it's quite a unique one too. They've really challenged the cloning by picking some pretty complex voices for these samples they've uploaded. Let's check the result.
Introducing the next generation of refreshment. Duff beer just got bolder, smoother, and brewed to perfection. Whether you're kicking back or barfing up, it's the taste that never quits. Crack open a classic. Duff is back and better than ever.
How cool is that? Seriously cool. Just excellent. I think this is very, very good. All right, let's check another sample.
You know, Grandpa goes around and he does his business in public because Grandpa isn't shady. Any of your scientists working on anything new? Why was Night...
Okay, again, this is quite a challenging voice sample. Let's hear how the output sounds.
So I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore!"
Oh, I think this result is much better. That sounds almost exactly like the input. There might be a tiny, slight difference, but it's really minimal. Very impressive for a longer piece. Okay, now these next three samples, the last ones they've provided here, are for what they call voice agents. This means the tone changes slightly, kind of like when you hear a service representative or, customer agents or folks working in customer sales support and call centers. These results are aiming for that kind of tone. So the text is up above, that's what they use to generate the audio, and here, let's check out the first sample.
In this piece, we're actually playing husband and wife.
Okay, that sample was super short, just 2 or 3 seconds long. Now, let's hear the result.
Okay, let's confirm your details first so we're on the same page. So the order number is 147-552-1697. I'll repeat 147-552-1697. Is that correct?
Excellent! I think that is a perfect voice for a customer service representative or a call center voice. It's spot on. So, let's check the next one.
And if self-preservation is an instinct you possess, you better fucking do it and do it quick. So if a cop stops us and starts sticking his big snout in the car, the subterfuge won't last.
Okay, that was quite a long sample, and you can hear that this speaking style isn't really that of a voice agent. It sounds more like a normal audio clip they just grabbed from a movie or something like that. So let's see how the output handles this now, aiming for that voice agent tone.
Okay, let's confirm your details first so we're on the same page. So the order number is 147-552-1697. I'll repeat, 147-552-1697. Is that correct? Okay, let's confirm.
Wow, how about that? I honestly didn't think it would be able to pull off the voice agent tone properly. I kind of expected it to just speak in the same tone as the sample provided, but nope, it completely changed the tone, and it generated the audio perfectly in that voice agent style. So this is a very, very cool feature, these voice agents. So those were the examples, ladies and gentlemen, and I have to say, I'm quite astonished by what I've heard. They can absolutely 100% compete with ElevenLabs. My next step is definitely to try and install this locally and then really see if these are just cherry-picked examples or if it's consistently this good. But hey, before I do that, let's quickly jump over to their Hugging Face space and try one out live. I want to see if it can genuinely handle a voice I give it. So I've got a voice clip of Donald Trump here. It's about a 20-second sample of one of his speeches. Let me play that for you.
I would like to begin by addressing the heinous attack on the United States Capitol. Like all Americans, I am outraged by the violence, lawlessness, and mayhem. I immediately deployed the National Guard and federal law enforcement to secure.
Okay, so that was the sample, and I've given it some text to say. It's a pretty decent chunk of text, actually. It should generate about 20 seconds of audio from it. It's worth noting that on the Hugging Face space, the maximum characters you can input here are 300. You can't give it more than that for the demo. Of course, when you install it locally, you can give it text as long as you want. Besides that, there are a few settings here. For exaggeration, 0.25 is the default. I'll just keep it at default for this test. You can increase it, as we saw, all the way up to 2.0. And the more you increase it, the more that emotional exaggeration will ramp up. Then there's the CFG scale. This is another setting, usually related to how closely it sticks to the prompt versus allowing for a bit more creativity. You probably know the type. The default here is 0.5, so I'll keep it at 0.5. And you've got options to lock the seed, which is good for reproducibility, and the temperature can also be adjusted up and down to control randomness. So I'm going to generate it. Let's check out Donald Trump, as cloned by Chatterbox.
So, it's happening. Right now, we are officially, and I mean officially, at war with China. They asked for it. Frankly, they begged for it with their terrible, terrible behavior. Our military is the best in the world, maybe ever. They're going to do what they have to do, and we will win.
Okay, wow. I honestly don't think that sounds like an AI-generated voice at all. It has perfectly cloned Donald Trump's voice. I genuinely can't find even a 0.1% flaw in it. It has absolutely nailed the voice. So yeah, this is a seriously impressive model. Okay, so after listening to those examples, you can probably see why everyone's getting so excited about Chatterbox. The quality, the cloning capabilities, the emotional range, it's undeniably impressive stuff. But how does this wizardry actually work its magic? Without diving too deep into the super technical jargon, Chatterbox uses a souped-up version of the LLaMA architecture. We're talking a pretty capable 0.5 billion parameter model as its foundation. If you've been keeping an eye on AI, you'll know LLaMA is a seriously powerful base. It basically follows a three-step process. First, it figures out the text you feed it. Then it predicts the prosody. That's all the rhythm, pitch, and intonation that makes speech sound natural. And finally, it cooks up the actual audio waveform using a type of AI called a hi-fi GAN vocoder. And very importantly, that Perth neural watermark we mentioned for ethical tracking gets embedded during this final stage, adding an inaudible signature. The emotion control is also pretty slick, using what they describe as 9-dimensional affect vectors that you can literally scale up or down to get just the right amount of feeling into the voice. Neat, huh? Now, for what might be the most thrilling part for a lot of you, this thing is completely open source, released under an MIT license. That means you can use it, change it, and build on it for your own projects, all for free. And the hardware you'll need for this 0.5 billion parameter model, surprisingly reasonable. For basic text-to-speech, you're looking at needing about 6.5 gigabytes of VRAM, and for that awesome voice cloning, it's around 8.1 gigabytes. This is huge because it means it can run on many graphics cards that regular consumers already have, which is a big shift from some of those monster AI models that, need a dedicated server farm to even boot up. Getting it installed seems pretty straightforward too, typically just a pip install command if you're comfortable with Python, and then you grab the pre-trained models from places like Hugging Face. There are even folks in the community coming up with ways to use even less VRAM, using methods like 8-bit quantization or chunk processing if you're trying to run it on a less powerful setup. Pretty cool. It's also clear that Resemble AI has put some serious thought into the ethical side of things, especially when releasing a tool this powerful for voice cloning. The Perth watermarking system is built to be tough. The reports say it can handle things like being compressed into an MP3 or having its sample rate changed and still be detected with high accuracy. This is vital, for being able to trace where AI-generated audio originated. They also talk about features like voice consent verification, using AI to double-check if a voice being cloned actually matches the person who supposedly gave permission. Plus, things like filtering for not safe for work content and putting rate limits on the open source version to help curb misuse. These are definitely the right moves for developing and releasing AI responsibly. So, what's the downside? Is it all sunshine and rainbows? Well, right now, the main limitation people are pointing out from early feedback is that it's primarily English only. So if you need your voices in other languages, you might have to hold your breath for a bit. Also, a few users have mentioned hearing occasional slight breath sounds or tiny artifacts in the audio. To be fair, these are pretty common quirks in many text-to-speech systems, even the big commercial ones, and they often get smoothed out in future updates. But the good news is that the future looks bright for Chatterbox. They're planning to add support for over 50 languages, which would be absolutely massive. They're also working on Visium alignment. That's basically making sure the AI-generated mouth movements would be spot on for things like video dubbing. And there's even chatter about a more compact, streamlined version of the model designed specifically to run on mobile devices. It racked up over 4,000 GitHub stars in its first week alone. Can you believe that? It's democratizing access to cutting-edge voice technology that until now was often stuck behind expensive subscriptions or demanded huge amounts of computing power. Whether it completely cooks ElevenLabs or other commercial services is something we'll have to wait and see, as you can bet they'll be innovating and responding. But one thing is crystal clear. Resemble Chatterbox has cranked the heat up to an absolute inferno and has set a new, incredibly high bar for what we can expect from open-source speech synthesis. It's a genuinely exciting time for AI voices. Now I'm curious to hear from you. What do you all think? Have you checked out the Hugging Face space yet? Are you tempted to switch from your current text-to-speech setup and give Resemble Chatterbox a spin? Let me know your thoughts and what cool things you'd use it for down in the comments below.